Hi there. This is the final instructions for your final paper in English 101. Keep in mind this will be a policy paper, which means you need to use the keywords should, must, need, could, would, or ought in your final essay. So let's go over the actual instructions for your paper. The first step is that you want to choose a specific problem. This problem should be manageable, okay? Don't focus on worldwide problems such as world hunger or climate change. There's no way you can solve that in a 5 to 7 page paper. Brainstorm problems that affect you directly, problems at your work, in your community, maybe your major at MCC, or some of your hobbies. All right, for my example, I like mountain biking, so I might want to focus on problems I notice in mountain biking. Try to keep the problem localized. In other words, keep it to your local community, whether it be Rochester or your hometown. We are at a community college, so keeping things localized kind of fulfills the community college mission. So for example, I've noticed a lack of bike paths at MCC. That is a local problem, okay? It's manageable. It affects me. It's one of my hobbies. It's also at my work, okay? So that's something that I can maybe examine as a potential problem for my final paper. Step 2, you want to conduct research. Remember, you need to use 3 sources total, as I point out in the instructions for your final paper, the text-based instructions, which you need to read. You need 1 scholarly source and 2 non-scholarly sources. Start with a simple Google search. This is the best way to kind of get your ideas going. Okay, what has been said about the problem that you're investigating? Example, I might want to search for bike paths at Monroe Community College, Rochester, New York. Will anything show up? I don't know. If something does, then I can start looking a little bit more specifically at this problem. Example, I could also think about bike paths at colleges. All right, so if nothing shows up for bike paths at Monroe Community College, I might then want to think more broadly, bike paths at colleges in general, and see if anything pops up. I want to also move to local sources, and some of these local sources could be the Democrat and Chronicle, MCC Buildings and Grounds, or even the MCC website. Can I find anything about this problem? Has MCC done anything about this? Then I want to move to scholarly sources in MCC's library database. Now keep in mind, I'm not going to find anything specific on bike paths at Monroe Community College. We're not going to find a scholarly source directed specifically at that problem. Rather, we want to think more generally, search for solutions at other colleges nationwide. How have other colleges tackled this problem? Step 3, you want to locate the current solutions within your research. Does MCC currently have a plan for bike paths? Now I could look at the website or Buildings and Grounds, for example. If it does, is it publicized? If it isn't, then that's a problem. Okay. What are some of the solutions available at MCC? I might want to again ask someone from MCC, someone from Buildings and Grounds, or someone from Student Services. What solutions are available at other college campuses? And how can those solutions potentially be implemented into MCC? So step 4, formulate your solution. Your solution will only emerge after you conduct research. You need to see what the current solutions currently are, right? You can't just say, well, I'm going to solve it this way if someone else has already proposed that solution. If there's already a solution in place, then it should no longer be a problem. However, if the problem still exists, then that solution has not worked. What you want to think about is how can you build upon the current solution? You don't necessarily need to come up with something completely original. Just use what they're currently doing to solve the problem and build upon it a little bit more. What are other communities doing to solve the problem? Is another way of thinking about it. Can MCC implement bike paths similar to what is at other colleges? That'd be one way of me thinking about formulating my solution in a way that builds upon what other colleges are doing. Step 5, create a roadmap or steps to implement your solution. Now, this is an important step and something that I emphasize in the instructions. Analyze your solution, right? We talked about analysis quite a bit this semester. Analyze your solution by breaking it into smaller, more achievable steps. You got to think in terms of cost, manpower, materials, promotion, community involvement, all those kind of things, even probably more. Okay. Breaking it into smaller parts helps you create a longer essay. All right. It's a better essay as well because you practice those analytical skills that help the reader see your solution in achievable steps. So where would bike paths be placed at MCC? What would they cost? Would they be paved? Would they be dirt? Would they be made of stone? Where would people store their bikes? How would MCC promote its bike paths? These are some of the steps that we would need to answer, right, to implement our solution. Step 6, we want to create an outline for your essay. Your essay should unpack your introduction, and this is something I discuss in a further lecture. Roughly 75 to 80% of your essay should focus on your solution. Avoid writing specifically about the problem. You just need to give me a little bit of background on the problem, some background on the current solutions, and then the majority of your essay should focus on the steps to implement your specific solution. Follow the outline that I provide in an upcoming video lecture for further assistance. Your essay should be between 5 and 7 pages. Follow the MLA format, and have a works cited page.